I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this. I mean, I always considered myself a pretty straightforward guy, the kind who believed in honesty, loyalty, the kind of guy who thought that when you said you loved someone, that was forever. My name's Jake, and I met Emily at college. She was beautiful, confident, a little bitchy maybe, but I loved her. We got engaged about a year ago, and things seemed perfect, or at least they did on the surface. We had our ups and downs, sure, but nothing that didn't seem fixable. She was busy with her career, I was busy with mine, but we always managed to find time for each other. People would say we were a good match, and honestly I believed it too, until about 6 weeks before our wedding. That's when little things started changing. Emily became more distant, a bit more irritable, snapping at me over small things. She'd cancel plans last minute, get defensive if I asked where she was or who she was with. At first, I brushed it off as pre-wedding nerves, but then I started noticing other things. Her phone was always locked, more than usual. She'd hide it when I entered the room, and I caught her in a few little lies about where she was, who she was with. Nothing big at first, just little red flags I told myself I was imagining. But then I found the receipt. I was cleaning out my drawer looking for some old letters, and I saw a receipt from a local hotel. Nothing unusual in itself except the date. It was from 3 nights ago, and that's what made me suspicious. I didn't remember her staying at a hotel, and especially not alone. I asked her about it, she brushed it off, said she'd forgotten she made that booking. She claimed it was for a work thing she'd forgotten about, a stupid excuse that didn't sit right with me. That's when I started digging a little more. I couldn't shake this feeling that something was seriously off. Every time she'd leave the house, I'd check her social media. Her posts were carefully curated, but I caught her in little contradictions, comments she'd delete quickly, messages she'd hide. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew deep down that I was onto something. And then I saw a message, one that confirmed it all. It was from a number I didn't recognize, and it was sent late at night. "Can't wait to see you again," it said. That was all. No name, no context, just that one message. I stared at it for a long time, my stomach twisting in knots. I felt this cold rush of realization. Emily wasn't just lying about the hotel. She was cheating on me, with my best friend, Mark. That's when everything started to fall apart in my head. The girl I loved, the girl I was supposed to marry, had been lying to me for weeks, maybe longer. And she was sleeping with someone I trusted, someone I called my best friend. I didn't even sleep that night. I sat there staring at the message, trying to process how my whole life had suddenly shattered. How could she do this? How could she look me in the eye and lie, knowing I knew? I felt angry, betrayed, devastated, all at once. That's when I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just let this slide. I needed to confront her, face her with what I knew, and figure out what to do next. But I also knew deep down that this wasn't just about a cheating wife anymore. It was about justice, about revenge, and about taking back control of what she almost stole from me. The next day, I couldn't keep it inside anymore. I waited until she came home from work, trying to act normal, like I wasn't burning with rage and heartbreak inside. She walked in, arms full of shopping bags, wearing that fake smile she always put on when she knew she was hiding something. I looked at her, and for a second I thought about saying nothing, just letting her lie her way out of it. But I knew I'd regret that forever. So I looked straight at her and said, "Emily, I need to talk to you, now." She blinked, a little surprised, then gave me that smirk, like she thought she could smooth this over with her charm. "What's going on, Jake? You're acting weird." "No, I'm tired of acting like everything's fine," I said, voice steady but cold. "I saw the hotel receipt. The message from your friend Mark. I know what you've been doing. I know you're cheating on me." She froze for a second, then her face twisted into this ugly sneer. "Oh, come on, Jake. You're overreacting. I was just talking to him about work. You're crazy if you think I'd cheat on you. You're paranoid." "Paranoid? No, Emily, I'm not crazy. I've seen the messages, the lies, the hotel. And let's not forget the way you've been acting secretive, hiding your phone, lying about where you go and who you're with. How stupid do you think I am?" She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "You're just jealous, that's all. Mark's just my friend. Maybe you're the one who's overreacting. You're insecure, Jake. This is all in your head." That was when I snapped. I told her I wasn't going to be played for a fool anymore. I pulled out my phone, showing her the message. Her eyes widened for a second and then she started to bullshit her way out of it. Okay, fine. Maybe I made a mistake, but it's not what you think. It was just a drunken mistake, nothing serious. I swear to God, I never wanted to hurt you. I love you. I couldn't believe the words I was hearing. She looked me dead in the eyes and said she loved me after all that. After she'd lied, cheated, betrayed me with my best friend. It was like she was trying to gaslight me, make me doubt what I knew was real. I looked at her and felt this overwhelming mixture of disgust and heartbreak. How could she lie so easily? How could she turn her back on me like this? I told her I was done with the lies, that I needed time to think. She threw a fit, called me crazy, said I was overreacting. She said that I was jealous, insecure, that I was ruining everything because I couldn't handle the truth. But I knew the truth, and it was clear she didn't care about me, just her stupid affair and whatever thrill she was getting. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, the sneaking around, the texts, that damn hotel. I felt this crushing emptiness inside that I'd never experienced before. I'd trusted her with everything, and she had just thrown it all away. I started questioning everything about us, about the future we planned, about whether I ever really knew her at all. And yet part of me was still holding onto some hope. Hope that maybe I was wrong, maybe she'd come clean, maybe there was some explanation that would make sense. But deep down, I knew I'd already lost her. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by this stranger who lied and cheated behind my back. The betrayal hit harder than I ever thought possible, and I realized that if I was going to survive this, I'd have to be the one to take control, make a decision. Because she sure as hell wasn't going to do it. The days that followed were a blur of numbness and rage. I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that stupid smirk she put on when she was lying, the messages from Mark, the hotel receipts. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, like I was already dead inside but still somehow breathing. I kept going over everything, trying to understand how she could do this to me, to us. How she could betray me so easily, so without remorse. I decided I couldn't just sit around waiting for her to come clean or change her mind. I needed to see if there was more. I started digging deeper into her phone, her messages, her social media. I didn't want to do it, but I felt like I had no choice. If I was going to get to the truth, I had to find everything. And what I found was worse than I expected. There were more messages from Mark, flirty, intimate conversations, plans for secret meetups, talk about their sex life like they were just two people who couldn't get enough of each other. That's when it hit me, she was pregnant. I found an ultrasound picture on her email sent by Mark with a note that said, "Can't wait to see her, him." That was it. She was pregnant just weeks before our wedding. My life, my future, everything I'd worked for, all turned upside down in one sickening discovery. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding in my chest and my stomach turned. How could she hide this from me? How could she lie about everything? I confronted her again that night, this time with the evidence in hand. I showed her the ultrasound picture, told her I knew she was pregnant with Mark's kid. Her face went pale, then she started to lie again. "Oh, Jake, don't be stupid, that's not mine. Mark probably sent that to someone else. You're overreacting, you're just trying to ruin everything." I was furious. How could she lie so effortlessly? How could she pretend like this was just some mistake, some misunderstanding? I told her she was full of shit, that I knew the truth. She was sleeping with my best friend and she was pregnant. I asked her what she planned to do, if she even cared about the damage she was causing. She looked at me, eyes cold and fake. "You're making a big deal out of nothing, Jake. This isn't how it looks. I swear I don't know where that ultrasound came from. Maybe Mark's trying to manipulate you. Maybe he's jealous, or maybe you're just paranoid because you don't trust me." I couldn't believe the audacity of her lying, acting like I was crazy. I told her I wasn't going to let her drag me through this anymore. I said I needed time to think, to get away from her, to clear my head. I told her I was done with her manipulations, done with her lies, done with her pretending everything was okay when it was. That's when she started crying, fake tears streaming down her face, begging me not to leave, to give her a chance to explain. But I was beyond listening. I knew what I had to do. My mind was made up. I wasn't going to stay in this nightmare. I needed to figure out how to get out, how to move on. And I knew deep down that I couldn't trust her anymore, not just because she cheated, but because she lied about the pregnancy, about everything. She was a different person now, someone I didn't recognize. And at that moment, I realized I had to save myself before she took everything else from me. After I told her I was done, Emily's mask slipped even more. She went from crying to furious in a split second. Her voice got sharp, all that fake sweetness replaced with something colder, nastier. She called me overreacting, said I was crazy for jumping to conclusions, that I didn't understand her. She kept insisting that the ultrasound was a mistake, that Mark was just a sex buddy, and that I was ruining everything for no reason. She threw around accusations, called me insecure, jealous, even said I was controlling because I was checking her phone. She insisted she loved me, that she only cheated because I'd been distant lately, that she was stressed about the wedding, and that Mark was just a stupid mistake. She kept lying, spinning this story like she was trying to convince herself. Honestly, I was just numb listening to her. Every word was like salt in an open wound. How could someone so manipulative, so damn good at lying, be the woman I was supposed to marry? That night, I felt this strange mixture of anger and sadness. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore, but I also felt this deep ache of heartbreak. I'd trusted her with everything, my whole life, and she'd thrown it all away. I couldn't even look at her without feeling this surge of rage. But at the same time, I was hurting because I still loved her, because I wanted to believe she was telling the truth, even now. I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't stay in limbo, questioning everything, wondering if she was lying or telling the truth. I needed clarity, and I needed to protect myself. So I told her I needed a break, a real one. I said I wanted some space to think things over, to decide what was best for me. I told her I wasn't sure if I could forgive her, or even if I wanted to try. That was the last thing she wanted to hear. She begged, of course, said she'd do anything to fix this, swore she'd change, that she'd prove she loved me. But I'd heard enough. I knew that if I stayed, I'd only get hurt more. I couldn't keep living in this twisted version of our life, built on lies and betrayal. I had to get out, at least for now, and figure out what my next move was. It felt like my world was crumbling, but I also knew I couldn't let her keep destroying what was left of it. I was done being the victim of her lies. I needed to find a way to get my life back, even if it meant starting from nothing. The next few days were a nightmare. I moved out of the apartment, took some of my things, and stayed with a friend just to get some space from her. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. All I could think about was the betrayal, the lies, the baby she claimed was Mark's. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, that fake smile, her accusations, the ultrasound. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I trusted someone who was capable of this level of deception. It felt like my entire world had collapsed, and I was left picking up the shards. During that time, I started talking to a lawyer. I knew I couldn't just walk away and forget about it all. It was too messy, too complicated. The biggest blow was the pregnancy. I didn't want to be a father to a kid I didn't know if I was the real father of, especially when I was certain she and Mark had been sleeping together for months. I also knew I had to protect myself financially and emotionally. I wasn't about to let her manipulate me or guilt me into staying, even if part of me still loved her. That love was dead, replaced by this overwhelming need for justice and clarity. One afternoon, Emily called me in tears again. She begged me to come back to talk, to work things out. She said she was sorry, that she loved me and only made a mistake. Her voice was so desperate, so fake, I almost believed her for a second. But I knew better. I told her I wasn't interested in her apologies anymore, that the damage was done, and I needed time to think about what I wanted. I told her I wasn't coming back until I was sure I could trust her again. She yelled at me, called me heartless, said I was throwing away everything we had, but I didn't care. I knew I had to protect myself, even if it meant losing her forever. At this point, I'd come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to fix this, not with her. I didn't want her back, not after she'd lied, cheated, and played me like a fool. But I also knew I couldn't ignore the truth. I had to face what was real, and that meant confronting Mark, the guy I'd called my best friend, who was now the father of my future kid. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I couldn't just sweep this under the rug. I needed answers, and I needed to figure out how to move forward, even if it meant starting over completely alone. This whole experience has left me shaken to my core. It's made me realize how fragile trust really is, how quickly everything can fall apart when betrayal enters the picture. I don't know what the future holds now. I don't even know if I want to fix what's broken or if I should just walk away and start fresh. But one thing's clear: I'll never trust her again, and I'll never be the same after this. Sometimes the biggest lesson you learn is that love isn't enough when betrayal is involved. And honestly, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces of what I thought was my life. In the end, I made my choice. I filed for divorce, knowing I couldn't live with the betrayal, with her lies, and with the baby she claimed was Mark's. I didn't want to be a part of that chaos anymore. It hurt like hell, but I knew staying would only hurt me more in the long run. I also decided I needed to be there for myself, heal, rebuild, and learn to trust again, even if it takes years. The process wasn't easy. Emily kept trying to manipulate the situation, making excuses, lying some more, acting like she was the victim. But I saw through it all. I realized that her version of love was fake, built on lies and deceit. The worst part was knowing I had lost my best friend, the person I thought I knew, and that she had almost destroyed my future for a fleeting thrill. Living through this has changed me forever. I've become more cautious, more aware of how people can hide their true selves behind a pretty face or a sweet smile. I've learned that trust is fragile, something that can be shattered with a single lie, a single betrayal. And I've learned that revenge isn't always about vengeance in the traditional sense. Sometimes, it's simply about taking control and making the decision to walk away before the pain consumes you. Looking back, I realize I've grown stronger, even if I feel broken inside. I've come to accept that sometimes, love isn't enough. People can betray you in ways you never imagined, and you have to be prepared to walk away when they do. I hope others who find themselves in my shoes can learn from my story. Trust your gut, protect yourself, and don't be afraid to end something toxic. Because ultimately, the only person responsible for your happiness is you. So now, I'm rebuilding my life piece by piece. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'll be okay. I'll find someone who respects me, who values honesty, and who doesn't hide their secrets behind lies. And as much as it hurts to lose what I thought was my forever, I know this pain will eventually fade. Because in the end, I chose myself, and that's all that really matters.